This is the weekend edition of iFIBER 1 News, where we present some of the top stories from this week and your weekend weather forecast. I'm Bethany Jenks. Stay tuned for more on the weekend edition of iFIBER 1 News.
From the iFIBER 1 HD studio here in the heart of the Columbia Basin, this is iFIBER 1 News. Your number one source for local news, sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. This is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
One of our top stories for this week was about a new business in Ephrata that hopes to offer something different for shoppers. Reporter Jeff Chu has the story.
Jennifer Pierce's new Ephrata business started with a Facebook group connecting 3,500 mothers. Today, she has a storefront boutique at 132 West Division Avenue and sells new and gently used children's clothing. It's called the Red Tricycle.
As our group kind of started to grow, we started to realize that we all had an abundance of children's clothing, and that instead of just talking about it and telling everybody where we were buying stuff on sale, we decided we would just kind of switch clothes between us.
At the suggestion of some of her Facebook group and seeing the local need herself, Pierce said she decided to find a location and open the shop. That was more than 2 years ago. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but yearned for a serious project as well. So she often brings her 4-year-old daughter to work as a helper and greeter. See the Red Tricycle's Facebook page or call Pierce at 509-398-8734. I'm Jeff Chu for iFIBER 1 News.
Thanks, Jeff. Our next story is about the alumni of Ephrata High School coming together to help celebrate the school's centennial. Reporter Vivian Huang has the details.
It's been 100 years since Ephrata High School's first graduating class received their diplomas. This weekend, nearly 1,500 people attended the high school's 100-year reunion. The EHS 100 Reunion Committee formed in 2012 to organize what would become a highly attended weekend. Reunion Chairwoman Beverly Mayer said the big turnout did not come as a surprise.
We had up front, we had over 1,300 pre-registered, but if you stand at the gate this morning, it's just amazing that people that are registering for the event. So I would say 1,500 is probably a good guess. I mean, it's going to be higher, I think. And we're seeing the people from the 50s, 60s, 70s, they're really into it. But of course, over the years, they're used to going to reunions. And they're all organized in their classes, and so consequently we have heavy numbers in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
The opening ceremony took place at Kiwanis Field, where alumni gathered to reminisce with fellow alumni, former teachers, and administration. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Vivian Huang.
Thanks, Vivian. Our next story is about what the Grant County Historical Museum has to offer. Reporter Jeff Chu fills us in.
Beyond the old farm machinery and a rearing horse statue off Ephrata's Basin Street, there's a whole lot of local history to be found. Grant County Historical Museum is where you can ogle fire-heated curling irons, rosebud-scented necklaces, and a hootenanny that has nothing to do with the celebration. It's a place where you can pray in the original Catholic church in town, ramble around a cowboy saloon, see a bank safe that got robbed a time or two, or just wander through an Old West town with a plank sidewalk. And don't miss the 17-pound beaver fur hat and the wreath of women's hair. Pat Witham, Grant County Historical Museum Director for 25 years, said the museum averages 6,000 visitors a year. They can walk through the county's history on their own or see the museum with a knowledgeable tour guide such as museum assistant Crystal Lindberg.
Well, I think most of it is just the history of the county, at what it was in the late 1800s until the present day.
Witham said the county has a rich history.
Grant County started in 1909 when they broke away from Douglas County. And we had the centennial in 2009. And the centennial quilt is hanging on the wall. A lot of the homesteaders, Native Americans, and different cities. And we have certificates over there from all the cities that have actually were incorporated 100 years ago.
Witham talked about her favorite exhibits.
The dress shop and the millinery shop. It's nice to look at the old fashions, and they're very unique. And let's face it, women don't wear hats anymore, and there's some really awesome hats in there.
Witham said she hopes others will find their favorite exhibit at the museum. The museum will put on one of the biggest events of the year Saturday afternoon following the Rotary Youth Parade in Ephrata. The event, called the Living Museum, will feature exhibits in every building on the museum property. The American Legion will provide food with proceeds going to their veterans and children's related causes. The Grant County Sheriff's Posse will put on stick horse races for kids, a mock robbery, and a street shootout. Square dancers and a wool spinner will also be featured. I'm Jeff Chu for iFIBER 1 News.
Now we take a look at individuals wanted by the Grant County Sheriff's Office.
This is Sheriff Tom Jones with the Grant County Sheriff's Office. Each of the people you see here have a warrant for their arrest. If you see any of these people, we ask you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but call us at 509-762-1160 or send us an email at crimetips@co.grant.wa.us. If the person is presenting a danger, call 911. With your help, we can bring these people to justice and make our community safer.
We will be right back after this.